Gathered here together today to be mechazik a yeshiva which is unique, a maisid which is unique in its malacha, in their mission and what they do, and in how they go about being mechanech the bachrim in the yeshiva. Looking in Parshas Kedoshim, it's not so simple to find, or at first glance, it's not so simple to find a topic which could be considered one of the paramount, one of the most important fundamental yesodis in chinuch. But after a closer look, I think this week's parsha, this past Shabbos' parsha, contains over there a yesod, one line, 5 words, 6 words, which encompass all of chinuch, and specifically what Reb Gedalia and his yeshiva represent. In Pasuk state, Hoicheach, Teichiach, Esamisecha, Veloisisa Olav Chet. When a person witnesses a Yid being over an Aveira, doing something inappropriate, simply understood that Pasuk is referring to somebody who's been over an Aveira, Hoicheach, Teichiach, Esamisecha, Veloisisa Olav Chet. That's the simple taich, the simple interpretation of the pasuk. However, anybody who has ever been involved in the tchum of chinuch, in the world of chinuch, knows that probably the most crucial and the most important fundamental of chinuch is this pasuk. How many times does a Rosh Hashiva, does a Rabbi, does a Menal, does a Mora, does a parent, how many times do they encounter situations in which they see a child doing something which is not necessarily inappropriate, not necessarily a chet, but something which needs guidance, something which needs those words which encourage, those words which help form the child, those words, the carefully chosen message which is tailor-made and unique to each child's needs and each child's koichas hanefesh. Reb Gedalia Shor teaches the pasuk that there are 2 oifanim, there are 2 mahalchim, there are 2 ways to give musar. There are 2 ways to give over a message. When somebody sees a child do something inappropriately, when a bacher does something that's inappropriate, you can look at the bacher and you can say, how could you do such a thing? Wie ken sein azazach? It's terrible. What's wrong with you? Don't make the chet bigger than him. Don't crush him. Don't put him down to the point where the chet is bigger than him. How could you do such a terrible thing? Farkeret, he says. Pick up the boy. Pick up the child. You're so gewaldic. You're so incredible. You have such koiches. You have such incredible potential. It's beneath you to do such a thing. You're better than that. You're a murdik. You're tired kid. Don't make the chait bigger than him, make him bigger than the chait. This is not just with respect to chatoim. That's pashtus the pshat in the Mishnah in Saita. Rashi says a different pshat. I saw a moiridik maisa, an incredible story about a mechanech, a recent mechanech in Ikvis de Meshicha, who did something which literally shaped the child's life. There's a yeshiva in Denver, Yeshiva Teiras Chaim. There was a menal in the yeshiva. He was nifter a few years ago. His name was Rabbi Yeshua Gottman. He was a menal. He was first a Rabbi in the yeshiva. He was a menal. He was a genius in chinuch. He was an absolute, incredible genius. Every year, Yeshiva's Teiras Chaim has a Shabbaton. They have boys come to the yeshiva from unaffiliated backgrounds. Some of them not even from. Some of them just on the brink. And they come to the yeshiva for a Shabbos and they see what the yeshiva is all about. They see what yeshiva life is all about. And they come and some of them are mushpa from the Shabbos and they continue a future in yeshiva. One year, a boy came from Mexico with long hair, with jeans. He came out, didn't look like a Yiddish bacher. His name was Pinchas. He called himself Pancho. This boy came for Shabbos and he did not stop talking. He was a 7th grader. He opened his mouth the minute he got off the plane. He didn't stop talking until Matzah Shabbos. The boys nicknamed him by Matzah. By Friday night, they called him the mouth. He didn't stop plopping. And he was there the entire Shabbos. And he had no shaykhs to anything. A year later, he was in 8th grade, he came back again for the Shabbaton. And Rabbi Yeshua noticed this boy. And he saw in him, he saw Vaistais potential, he saw koiches and kishroinis that only the discerning eye of a mechanech can tell. And he decided he wants to try to get this boy to come to yeshiva next year. And he gave the boy an application. And he told him, do me a favor, when you get home, ask your parents. Try to convince them. Did you like the yeshiva? The boy liked the yeshiva. Fill out the application. Pancho's father was not keen on the idea, but his mother allowed it. And as we know, most of the time the mother wins, the wife wins. Lamaisa, they filled out the application and Pancho enrolled in Yeshiva's Teres Chaim in Denver. Rabbi say, this Maisa is moiridik. He came the first day of Yeshiva with long hair and jeans, the exact way he had come to the Shabbaton. Rabbi Yeshua took him under his wing, and slowly, with great difficulty, he made painstaking gains, and this boy evolved into a Ben Torah. One day in 11th grade, Pinchas showed up with a necklace hidden under his shirt. And Rabbi Yeshua didn't say anything. One day, 2 days, 3 days, and every day he's showing up, this necklace under his shirt. Day 4, he called Pinchas into his office. And he told him, he said, I want to speak to you. And Pinchas comes in, and he says, Rabbi Yeshua sits down by his table, by his desk, and he opens the drawer and he says, Pinchas, you should know you're doing so well. I saw you doing so gevaldik in yeshiva, I decided to buy you a gift. And he pulls out a small little box. Pinchas sees the box, doesn't know what's in the box. And he tells him, Rabbi Yeshua, Gottman encourages him, he says, open the box. And he opens the box, and inside the box is one earring. And Rabbi Yeshua looked at him, and he says, Pinchas, I see you like jewelry. I bought you a gift. He said it with all the sincerity in the world. Take it, it matches your necklace. Pinchas took it, didn't say much. And he went back to his room and he studied his necklace in the mirror. And he held up his earring next to the necklace. And then he took off the necklace and he put it in the box. And he never wore it again. That was the turning point in this boy's yeshiva experience. Pinchas turned in to a Ben Torah. He's a young man. He has a mishpacha in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Yeshua Gottman was tragically nifter a few years ago. During the first year, this Pinchas, a young man, approached a friend of his. And he said, you know, I'm a kohen. I can't go into a Beis HaChaim. He said, but the minig is that people who go, when they visit, they leave a stone. On top of the kever, melos diber a stone. He said, I want to give you a stone to leave on my Rebbe's kever. He said, but it's not a typical stone. And he gave him the box with the earring, with the necklace. And he says, leave this on the kever. Rabbi said, that's a mechanech. That's hoicheach toichiach asamisecha v'loisisa olavchet. That's looking at a bacher and recognizing, seeing past the surface, seeing past what you're seeing on the facade of the face of the bacher, looking past what the bacher is doing, past the actions, the fleishige actions, the physical actions that he's doing, seeing what's inside his heart, and encouraging him, and building him up, and seeing the good in every bacher. That's the key to chinuch. That is the most fundamental principle of any mechanech. Amal, you'll have a bacher who can't control himself. You know, these boys are not necessarily, they're not polished diamonds, if you will. He said, but one time, it'll happen occasionally, a boy will break a door. He'll kick a door, he'll break a door. What do you do when a bacher breaks a door in yeshiva? No? 9 out of 10 people will say, you reprimand him. He broke a door. He's mazik. He's destructive. Rabbi Gedalia told me how he treats a bacher who breaks a door. He said, if the bacher owns up to the fact, he admits that he broke the door, the Rosh Hashiva himself will take a hammer and go together with the bacher and fix the door. Rabbi say, that's a Malach Hashem. That's him, Harav Doim El Malach Hashem Tzvakas. That's how you build a bacher. That's how you form, that's how you shape future generations in Klal Yisrael.